This is our 4-day new client acquisition challenge with Alex Schlinsky. This is when I had hair. I'm wearing a hat because I don't have hair anymore. Good days. Miss it, but it's all good. We'll move on from it and not talk about it anymore. Okay, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. The psychology of the one call close. I graduated University of Central Florida, magna cum laude. No one cares about that other than my mom, but in a bachelor's degree for psychology. And I'm really interested in kind of psychological frameworks. I'm going to teach you a lot of them today. So you don't have to do endless follow-up, no more proposals, no more qualifying calls. We're just going to be talking about how to simply close deals in just one call. So if you want that, if you're on the Facebook group, just drop a 7. We're going to dive into this and we're going to get to it. So the first thing obviously is, who is Alex Schlinsky? That's probably one of the main questions many of you have. Here's some fun facts about me. I'm the co-founder alongside my beautiful wife of an incredible entrepreneur mastermind called Prospecting on Demand, which I'm grateful for all the people in the high-level community that are part of our community as well. We help agency owners, coaches, and consultants scale their agencies to 7 figures. Some people like to call it 7 figs, but not just the fruit or vegetable, but actually hitting those revenue numbers. I've run a PI attorney agency, which is personal injury attorney agency, for over a decade. I didn't even know about it for the first 4 years. When we get to some Q&A, if you want to talk about how I was ignorant to running a marketing agency for 4 years, I'll happily tell you about it. I have sold over $15 million worth of coaching products and marketing services, both as a salesperson and also for my 2 companies. I did have open heart surgery in 2020 to fix a bicuspid aortic valve while my wife was 5 months pregnant. I can strongly recommend that you do not have heart surgery. A 0 out of 10. Do not recommend it. I have 0 stars on Google. Don't do it. I was a journalist for the UFC and NFL. That was part of the time where I didn't realize that I could make a lot more money working in the PI attorney agency. That's why I don't work for the UFC or NFL anymore, even though it was a lot of fun. I am ultimately honored to share my content with amazing entrepreneurs like you. I love this community. They're amazing, incredible human beings. And I'm really excited to share this. That's me on the side doing what I do best, which is coaching this in person. Unfortunately, we can't be in person, but this is the next best thing. And I'm super excited about it. Hopefully one day we'll all be together for an amazing high-level event, which I know they're working on. Now, one of the most common questions I get, will this work in my niche? Let me just skip to the part that you want to hear. Yes. Is that good? Okay. It works in all marketing niches, all offers, all coaching programs, PPC to SaaS, coaching to social media posting, doctors to plumbers, white collar to blue collar. You can read the rest of the slides. It works. I promise. I've tried it in everything. I've been running my marketing agency since 2010. I've been coaching since 2015, 16. It works. It works in all of them. It's a little bit harder for transparency to do one call closes in like nonprofits or e-commerce because there's a lot of decision makers, but that doesn't mean the frameworks aren't still really valuable, just so you understand and have clarity there. Okay. Let's just start off with the baseline of sales. All right. There are 3 core tenets to sales in general. Okay. Number 1 are the words that you say. Number 2 is the tone in which you say them. You might realize sometimes my tone is a little bit quicker. Sometimes my tone is a little bit slower. Sometimes I'm a little bit louder. Sometimes I'm a little bit quieter. That's pretty rare. I'm usually not a very quiet person. But ultimately, the tone is extremely important to actually showcase confidence, which is going to be a really key element to the one call close. And we're going to be talking about that a lot today and frankly over the next several days as we go through this. Okay. The third element is the visual component. How many of you right now watching on Facebook, how many of you don't use a visual component in your sales? I'd like to know if you can drop that in the chat. The reason I ask is because a lot of people do phone call sales. When you do phone call sales, you're immediately losing the opportunity to see the person, use your hands, see their expressions. How do they respond? If you're any interest in NLP, which we're not really going to talk about this weekend, but if you have any interest in NLP and understanding anchoring and how people respond, like losing out on a visual component, even just to see someone, let alone a slide deck, right? You're just missing out on a huge element in your sales process, and you really need to have it. If you want our pitch deck for this, and we'll share all the slides for you, we'll show you how to do it. Don't stress on that. We'll give it all to you. Let's talk about the types of sales calls, right? This is a really common framework that we see. The most common that we see is number 3, which is the discovery call method. This is where you get on a call for 15 minutes, you ask them some questions, you qualify them, and then you say, okay, great, I can help you. Can we schedule a call tomorrow so I can set up a demo for you? This is an outlandishly bad move because ultimately what you're doing is you're priming your client or your prospect rather to consider something that is really not efficient. What you're doing in your sales when you do this, one, is you are promoting their money over their time. So I'm going to ask you all a simple question. Would everyone here agree with me that time is the single most valuable resource that we have? If I can see you, just shake your head or give me a thumbs up. Does anyone disagree with me? I would love to hear with you because you're wrong, but I just want to know if that's the case. It's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. I don't mind. Cool. No one's wrong. Good for you. That's awesome. Okay. I'm a jokester. Hopefully you can tell. All right. We're going to continue. So ultimately, when you're on a call with a prospect, you want their mindset to be that the time that they're giving you for no cost is much more valuable than the credit card you want at the end of the call. When you do the discovery call method, you are ensuring that you don't care about their time because you're asking for time day 1 and time day 2 instead of I'm just going to be able to do this in one framework. I'm going to talk about this a lot more as we go through this, but it's a really important framework to understand for how to be successful with the one call close. The first method that we see, it's not that common anymore, but it used to be pretty prevalent maybe like 5 years ago, which is essentially like the audit method. Like, hey, like I saw you ran this ad on Google and it wasn't good, and I'll give you feedback on how to do it better, or your SEO backlinks aren't good, and I'll show you how to do it first. You give them value and then you do a 2-option close. Still a great method in terms of the 2-option close, which is something along the lines of like, hey, Kim, really appreciate you jumping on the call with me. Hope this was helpful. You can decide now to either try this yourself, which is totally fine, or you can invest in our coaching or support or our done for you product where we'll do it for you so you can skip the learning curve and you'll have the success you want. Which one would you prefer? That's the 2-option close. I'm not a big fan of implementing 2-option close for the one call close, and I'll explain why in just a bit, but it is a great method for the prospecting offer. The number one best method by far, in my opinion, is the one call close. This is for qualified leads ready to buy, so you can help them make a decision that they need help making. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. Now, let's just talk about some very simple on-call recommendations. Number one, video calls are always preferable. We already went through why, so I'm not really going to dive into it much more. It's also really important to have a notepad for critical insight. I should on the next slide have a sample of that notepad so you can take a screenshot of it. Number three, focus on frameworks instead of scripts. We're going to be talking about that a lot today. If you are doing scripts, you're going to come off like a robot. None of you are robots. You do not have to read from a script. It will never come off well. If you just understand the frame, it will be better. If any of you have ever watched me do this specific training before, live, in person, bought my programs, seen me do other lives in other groups, in person at events, every single time it's different because I'm doing a frame, not a script, and it makes a huge difference in your sales. You should always have a 15-minute buffer between your sales appointments. I did not do a good job with this because right before this call, very transparently, I sold a person into my program, Paulson, and the call finished at 2:59. Yes, I did not have even 1 second before this call started. So I'm not practicing what I preach on this. My bad. I am a human being. Give me some grace, please. But it's always better to have 15-minute buffers between your calls. It will make your life a lot easier and better. Number five, have a pitch deck. Sales pitch decks make a big difference and will have a good visual component for you. The last one shouldn't say optional, but it does. Just have a templated proposal ready for people that are having a hard time making a decision on the call. A lot of you try to make like these very like aesthetically pleasing, overly done, like 10-page proposals. How many of those ever close? It's pretty rare, and you probably wasted a good amount of time doing it. We're going to talk about handling that objection later on. I hate proposals. I think it's a huge waste of time. Please don't do it. I can help you do it. Do you guys want to learn how to not ever send a proposal ever again? Is that a thumbs up for you all? Cool. I'm going to teach you how to do that today. Cool. Here's the notepad. I don't know what just happened there. That was weird, but here's the notepad. All right. The sales notepad, you can just take a screenshot of this. This is directly from our program, Prospecting on Demand Elite. Basically, it breaks down all of the frames of what I'm going to be covering today. So I'm not really going to dive into this too much because we're going to get to the frames here in just a minute. But it's a really valuable model and framework to consider because this just helps you, especially if you use it on Google Slides, for example. You can just have like a month, let's say March, where all your calls in March are done here. Well, you have the name of the prospect and then all the notes so you can encapsulate when to follow up with people. So imagine in January, if you had 15 calls, you can simply just have, all 15 in a Google slide deck because you duplicated each of these, you know who to follow up with and what their objections were and all that jazz. Paulson, you had a question?
Yeah, just quick reference point so you guys understand where we're coming from. When myself and Alex initially talked about a lot of his trainings and content, by the way, I went through a lot of his programs and things like that as he gave me access to it to make sure it's relevant to you. A lot of the things that he's teaching and going to be teaching in this 4-day workshop that we're doing is relevant more to agency services, okay? So a lot of you that are in here when it comes and you're interested about SaaS systems, SaaS sales processes, you're going to have to take what he's teaching you and kind of recreate your own frameworks for that component. This is going to be more relevant on the agency services. I just want to give you guys that context so I don't get any questions. Well, this is what didn't work for my SaaS, blah, blah, blah.
Totally fair, Paulson. Let me speak to you on this for a second. If this is specifically you only run a SaaS product, these frameworks will work exactly the same. There's just some tweaks that need to be made. If you have any questions about that, either write them down so we can talk about them today and during Q&A, or drop them in the chat. I will make sure I answer them for you either in a video, a voice note, or a text message. I usually don't do text because I want the tonality to come across, the visual component like we were talking about. But ultimately, I'll make sure you're covered no matter what question you have. So don't stress on it. You'll be all good. I'll make sure you get everything you need from this. Okay.
Thank you, Alex.
Of course, my pleasure. Let's talk a little bit about sales psychology. I'm really excited to share this with you. How many of you, just by show of hands, if it's cool, how many of you have heard of the law of reciprocity or the reciprocity principle? How many of you? Cool. Awesome. The thing that's crazy about reciprocity is that it dates as far back as the Hammurabi Code, which is pretty much like the first book of law that has ever been found in ancient history. It's pretty fascinating to consider this idea has been part of human interaction for, centuries, which is pretty cool. The idea of the reciprocity principle is really easy. When something does something nice for you, you are hardwired to get even and do something nice for them in return. Consider the fourth wall being broken right now. When I'm training you all right now on all the sales coaching and insight, right? Ideally, hopefully you're going to do something in return nice for me. Not that you have to, but that you're hardwired to do so. Maybe you're going to want to work with us. Maybe you're going to want to join our Facebook group. Maybe you're going to ask us questions. Maybe you're going to refer us business. Maybe you're going to thank the high-level team so much for having us. You're going to do something in a reciprocity because that's how human beings are hardwired. It happens all the time. And this is such an important thing to do in sales. And I'm going to talk about how you use reciprocity in sales. There's three main elements, okay? The first element we already spoke about, which is prospecting offers. Offer to help someone altruistically, that's going to then incline them to reciprocate their time, thus providing the opportunity to build a relationship. Remember, time is the key of the one call close. When you understand time being the most valuable resource, that's how you get people's credit card. I'm going to share that multiple times in this process. Number two is emotional reciprocity, okay? Emotional reciprocity is showing appreciation of the prospect's times, achievements thus far, and obstacles. Notice again, showing appreciation of prospect's time. Key element. The last one is can't be faked. It's sincerity. Sincerity is the key to successful use of reciprocity principle and also just being a good human being. Give without the expectation of getting something in return, and ultimately you will get so much more in return. And I believe in this wholeheartedly, and I know it works in sales. Sincerity really, really works, and it makes a big difference, okay? Let's talk about the next element, which is the 1950s psychoanalytic theory that will help you close over 50% of your leads on one call. Let me clarify, the help you close over 50% of your leads on one call is 100% hyperbole. You're not going to ever close more than half of the deals. It's just not going to happen. It's just a sexy marketing headline. I hope you can forgive me, but at least I'm telling you up front. Here's the thing. Has anyone heard of Sigmund Freud? I would guess pretty much everyone has. Has anyone heard of Eric Berne? Probably not. Oh, Christopher Browning. That's pretty dope, man. I don't know if you graduated psychology or something. Pretty cool. Eric Berne is the not as well-known psychoanalyst. It's because he didn't do all the weird stuff that Sigmund Freud did, but he did a lot of really interesting things that we're going to talk about right now, which is the idea of transactional analysis. Now, I'm going to get my psychology hat on for a sec. I hope you don't mind. Transactional analysis was actually coined in about 1952, 1954. And what Eric Berne is positing at that point is that every human being you speak to has three ego states. The three ego states are the parent, the adult, and child. Now, Eric had nothing to do with sales. This wasn't for sales. But when I learned about this in social psychology back in 2008, I was fascinated with how this is relevant for sales, whether it's sales and dating, sales and getting your mom to allow you to go out to dinner with, late at night, sales in whatever it might be. The value of understanding this PAC model, transactional analysis, will make everything you do in your marketing more efficient and effective, and you can use it in fulfillment, not just sales. Let's talk about the three elements. The parent is a natural skeptic, right? The reason parents are naturally skeptical is due to our hardwired evolutionary code of ensuring that we're going to provide for our children, and keep them safe and secure. So naturally, we're skeptical of everything. The adult, ideally and hopefully, is the logical framework. It may seem that people are not logical anymore over the last 2 years, but hopefully that's none of you, and hopefully none of your prospects. The idea is that human beings are logical. We want 1 + 1 to equal 2. We don't want 1 + 1 to equal 3 and then talk about why in theory that's the case. We want it to be logical, meaning your offers need to be logical. Your fulfillment needs to be logical. And then the last one, where pretty much everyone fails in sales these days, is the childlike big dream. Now I'm going to give you an example. Most people, when they're in sales, they try to get a goal, right? They're like, Rad, what do you want for your business? You're like, I want to get to 50K a month. And you're like, cool. And then you move on. You don't ask why. If you ask why and they're like, because, then that means they're not thinking of their childlike big dream. What's the actual conduit for the money? What does the money do for them? When you identify what the money does for them, it becomes so much greater than just a monetary goal. It becomes the childlike goal, and that is how you can sell. So let's talk about how to use transactional analysis, the PAC, in OnCall closes. The parent is super easy. How do you overcome skepticism? You show proof. You show results. You show testimonials to back up your bold claims. If you do not have that, let's talk about that later. But if you do, awesome. That's how you utilize it. Number 2, this is incredibly important. One of the most important things I'm going to say the entire time we're speaking over the next 4 days. Please simplify your offers. If you cannot logically explain to me or to Paulson or to Eric or to Dustin or the 100 people on this call and however many people in the high level community, your process and result in 3 to 5 steps maximum, then you will not sell ever. You have to keep it simple. It has to be logical. A + B = C. This is the result. Do you want C? I want C. I'm going to buy from you. Confused prospects don't buy. We're going to be talking about that. You are probably confusing your prospects a lot, especially, by the way, Paulson brought this up, if you're doing SaaS. You're like, let me show you the 755 features that high level has. No, show them 3. Keep it simple. You don't have to show them everything. Simplify it. Number 3 is childlike dreams. Identify what their childlike goals are. Ensure you can help manifest them through their investment. An example would be, again, let's use Wayne. Wayne, you want to hit $25,000 a month in your business. Why? I want to hit $25,000 a month in my business because it will allow me to retire my wife early. And what happens if you retire your wife early? Then she's going to be happier with me. We're going to have a healthier marriage. I'm going to be able to spend more time with her. Now you really understand why 25K matters. It's much more significant when you understand the deep-rooted reason, and that's the childlike dream and goal. Don't ever forget this. And it's a lot easier when you have a 1-year-old kid like I do. Shout out to Ellie. He's the best. I love being a dad. It's awesome. All right, let's continue. Let's talk about just generic psychology tips before we move off of this and get into the frameworks, okay? If you guys are enjoying this, by the way, just let me know. Throw a 7 in the comments below. If you're hating this, throw a 1 so I feel bad. Thank you. Number 1, empathy matters, okay? You cannot fake it. Just like sincerity, you can't fake it. You have to actually listen to the prospective client. If you pre-prepare responses and questions, you will fail in sales. I'm going to give you a quick example. I will not name names because it's not nice to do so, but this happened about 1.5 years ago. I had a prospect in POD, we audit sales calls. So like we will listen to your sales call and give you feedback. I'm listening to this guy's sales call, really good dude. And unfortunately, the prospect on the other line is having a little bit of tough time in their life. And this prospect is talking about on the phone how recently their dog died, their wife got sick from COVID. They ended up recovering, so all was good. Their wife got sick and the business faltered because of it, because of this, that, and the other. And all these things happened and it was really sad. And my client's response was right away, that's fantastic. We can help you. He just said, that's fantastic to his dog dying and wife having COVID. That is what happens when you pre-prepare responses, when you are focused on the next question, when you're not actually listening. Empathy matters. Listen, do not just hear. My dad used to yell at me all the time. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Don't just hear, listen, actually understand what they said. Respond back to what they said, acknowledge them for their vulnerability, willingness to share, and understand that they are on a call with you to have support. Support them. So important. Empathy matters. Number 2 is seed planting. This is a huge miss by a lot of people, and it's such an easy thing to do. It's just an end of a sentence ad, right? Think of it as your salt on any sentence you have, just your seasoning. Hey, is that what you're hoping for? Is this what you wanted to see? Is this helpful? So let me ask you guys, watching this today, is this what you wanted to see? Is this what you were hoping for? Is this helpful? It's simple, right? And then seed planting. Hey, don't worry about that. We're going to help you with that problem when we begin working together. When you seed plant that we're going to work together, you're going to prime them to make sure that they're going to work with you. We're going to talk a lot more about that in just a minute. Number 4, the door isn't closing. One of the most common sales objections, just raise your thumb if you've ever gotten this objection, ever. Just raise your thumb up if you've ever gotten this. Hey, I just need to think about it. Anyone ever got that objection before? Very common, right? Super common objection. The problem is that they think the door is closing. And what you're taught by other salespeople, right? We're not going to name names, but you're taught by other salespeople that, oh, the door is closing. You have to do it urgency and scarcity, even though it's fake. What did we just talk about? Number 1, empathy matters. Don't fake it. So why are you making up scarcity? We're going to have an offer for high-level community, right? And we actually have scarcity because we can't work with every single person. So we're being authentic. It's the same thing. You have to be authentic. Don't tell them, hey, I'm rushing you to make this decision because we only have one spot left. The sale begins when the price is shared. Let them know at that point, right? Hey, you can think about it now. We're going to talk a lot more about this when we get to the objections, but I'm going to help you with this, okay? Quick vocab quiz. You can unmute yourself if you know the answer. It's totally cool. If you don't worry about it, but you have an opportunity to showcase your intelligence in front of all these people. Isn't that exciting? Who knows what a heuristic is? Anyone know? Anyone want to give a wild guess? Okay, Mr. Christopher Browning, Mr. I know everything in psychology. What do you got? You want to unmute yourself? You want to tell me what you think a heuristic is?
Well, at least in conversion rate optimization, it's a measurement device.
Okay, what does it measure?
Well, in conversion rates, how well somebody converts over. So it's usually little points that you measure to see how like the flow goes from you could say stage to stage.
Cool. Awesome. Very interesting. So that's not what I'm talking about today. Not that Chris is wrong in any ways. Don't be mean to him. That was awesome. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you stepping up to the challenge. A heuristic is a mental shortcut. Okay. It allows people to solve problems and make decisions efficiently. Look at the things that we highlighted here. Solve problems and make decisions. Those 2 things are what sales is all about. Solving problems and making decisions. And guess what people are bad at? Solving problems and making decisions. Hey, would you look at that? So do we want to talk about how we can help people solve problems and make decisions? Let's talk about it. We use heuristics for both decision-making and problem solving. Understanding how to utilize heuristics ethically, this is important, in sales is how you effectively serve prospects in your one call close. I'm going to go in a quick soapbox. It'll be 30 seconds, and then we'll move on. When I coach this, these are the same tools and methodologies that con artists use to con people out of money. Please don't be that person. I care about this a lot. I care about sales. I care about coaching, care about entrepreneurship. I care about growth. I care about the movement of the humans, society, and helping each other. I really believe in this a lot. Use this ethically. Use this with confidence. Use this to promote your service that will help people. Please do that. And if that resonates with you, hit me with a thumbs up. Let's continue. Okay. This number 1 thing that I'm going to share with you here, if you take one thing away from 4 days, just one thing, I am begging and pleading that you do this one thing. I know it's very uncomfortable. I understand it, but I promise you, it is the most important thing I'm going to share all 4 days. Seriously, I mean that. I might say that 5 more times, so don't hold me accountable to it, but still, it's extremely important. Tell them they should work with you. Do not ask, what do you think? How many of you end your sales call with, what do you think? Probably all of you. Probably all of you do that. It's a very common thing. People are like, okay, so what do you think? Do you like this? Do you want to do this? That's a very common thing. Asking them. I don't want you asking them. I want you telling them. I want you selling them. Let me give you a very quick side story on this to bring the point home. I mentioned earlier that I had open heart surgery. Because of insurance in the United States, which sucks, I only had the choice between 2 doctors to do my surgery. The first doctor I went to, I asked him, hey, doc, am I going to be okay? Am I going to meet my son? Am I going to make it through this surgery? He's like, yeah, you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. And I was really, really not happy with that response. He did not seem confident. He did not sell me on it. He did not make me confident that he can deliver. And we left and got in the car. I said, babe, I can't work with this guy. We can't do it. So the next doctor, when I went into his office a couple of days later, I said, doc, this is going to sound weird, but I'm a salesperson. I need you to sell me. I need you to tell me that I'm going to be okay with confidence, that you're going to do this right. And he chuckled and he said, Alex, you're going to be okay. It's important that you do this surgery now. If you wait too long, you can die. I'm going to make sure you meet your son. I'm going to take care of you. I do this every single day. You're in great hands. And that was a no-brainer for me. because he told me that I needed to do this. That's what prospects need. And thankfully, the actual stakes are not as high as having open heart surgery. I can tell you firsthand, they're not as high. They need you to tell them, not ask them. That's why they're on the call with you, because you're the expert. Tell them to do it. Do not ask them to do it. It will make a massive difference in your sales. You might listen to me right now and be like, that's so uncomfortable. I promise it's not. It's the opposite. It's empowering. You will say to them, hey, Michelle, this is exactly what you need. You came on this call because of this problem and wanted this solution. We will deliver it for you. You have to do this. This is the right fit for you. That is how you sell effectively. That is how you help the prospect make decisions, which they're bad at making. Do it for them. Do it for you. Number 2, simplify your offer options. This is especially certain for SaaS products and definitely for marketing services as well. A lot of you that sell like websites or PPC or SaaS, you'll like do multiple options on the call. I don't know why or who taught this to you, but it is not a good method. It's fine for a SaaS sales page to have, but not on a call. On a call, what you're doing is not showcasing, you have lack of confidence. Instead of telling them you need this thing, you're like, you have an option. They don't need more options. They need the idea that they have freedom of choice. But what they're really looking for is for you to choose for them. So when you say you can take the bronze package or the silver package or the gold package, right? You're giving them 9 potential options. Yes, no, and maybe. The unfortunate reality is the most common answer in all of sales is maybe. That's I need to think about it. I'm not sure. I need to talk to my partner. Let's follow up in a month, blah, 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 blah. That's all maybe. That's all maybe. So I'll give you a quick example, okay? Hey, Eric, can you unmute yourself for a sec so we can do it in a quick example if you don't mind? It will take 1 second. Eric Boss, that is. Okay, Eric, I'm going to ask you a question. There's no trick here. I'm just going to ask a question. Eric, do you want a Snickers?
All right.
Eric, do you want a Snickers or a Twix?
Man, a Snickers.
Okay, so now what just happened is the first question was a yes, a no, or a maybe. The second question was yes or no or maybe to Snickers and yes or no or maybe to Twix. That's 6 options. Why would we make the conversation more challenging? Just do one thing. A lot of you have a hard time with this. I know when you're offering websites. Oh, the best website is this and the SEO thing is this. Just tell them what to do. And please don't just sell them the lowest price thing so that they work with you later. No one wants to be sold that way. You do not want to be sold something you don't need, a low price because it's easier to sell. Don't cop out. Sell them what they need. That's what your job is. That's why they're hiring you. Do the work. That's the goal. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Sell the result, not the recipe. This is such an important framework. This is crazy, but it happens all the time. You are effectively, Celeste, saying this. Okay, you're saying, hey, I'm going to get flour, I'm going to get dough, I'm going to get cranberries, I'm going to get sugar. And the person's like, whoa, 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 what are you making? And you're like, oh, cranberry pie. But I hate cranberry pie. Oh, why are we talking about all the recipes? Why are you telling them every high-level feature you're going to do? Why are you talking about all the funnels you're going to make? Just sell them the result, what they want. They want the cranberry pie? Great. Here's 3 steps to how we make the cranberry pie. We put it in the oven. We put egg on it and we put a candle on it to light up for your birthday. You're welcome. Do you want it? Yes, I want it. Keep it simple. Paulson, what do you got?
Yeah, I just want to add one quick point to this. You have to ask yourself as a business, as a company, guys, why do these massive brands have multiple prices in their websites and systems and material? Why is that? Why do they have multiple prices and multiple packages if what Alex is saying is true? The reason why they have those is they use price as a weapon to drive people to a singular offer. For example, let's say you have 3 prices. The lowest one is at $5. The middle one is at $7 and the highest one is at $8. When you look at 5, 7, and 8, naturally what happens is you compare 7 and 8. What's the difference between 7 and 8? Naturally, the most highest sold package there is going to be the 8 because what everybody feels is, oh, for $1 more, I can get the biggest thing on earth, right? Like I'm playing the system. For $1 more, I fooled them is what the consumer feels like. If you put the price at like 5, 7, and 9, right? They're $2 apart. Guess what? You have 9 choices that Alex is talking about. If you do the opposite, let's say you do 5, 6, and 9, the natural inclination is to compare 5 versus 6 because 9 is too far away, and your most amount of sales will come from the whatever item you're selling for $5. So really, price becomes, or price choices become a weapon for massive brands in order to drive traffic to one offer.
So I got 2 things on this for you, Paulson. Great stuff. Number 1, no offense to anyone, none of you are massive brands. So why are you trying to measure based on them? They don't do phone sales for a reason. That's why they have the multiple offers. Number 2, right? Paulson was talking about selling on stuff, right? This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about on number 3. Selling the recipe. It's like, I'm going to give you the 40 features that high level does instead of explaining how much money you can make with it and how much time you can save with it. That's the result. That's what they want. Sell the result. This is an offer optimization framework, and we'll help you with that if you need it. If you have any questions about this kind of stuff, please just drop it in the chat on Facebook. I promise I will answer every single question, even if it's not on live. I'll make sure you're supported to get exactly what you need from this, okay? Here's the biggest thing, okay? Confused prospects simply do not buy. And hardly anyone is an efficient decision maker. I'm just going to ask really quick. First of all, if you can have more faces like on would be super cool. I love seeing people. I'm really appreciative for the maybe 10 of you that have it, but there's like 100 of you and like 10% of you have their videos on. Look, guys, it's okay. You look great. I'm sure you can put your video on. It's all good. With that said, I just want to hear this from the people on the screen. If I could see you with your thumbs up, right? Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate you. It's good to see you. Hope you're well. So here's what I want to know. Has anyone ever experienced this before? Hey, babe, you look great, Kathleen and Inyet and David and Sam and all you guys that put your video on. I appreciate it. Has anyone ever had this conversation? Hey, babe, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? I don't know. What do you want to do? Has anyone ever had that conversation before? Anyone? Okay. Has anyone had that conversation before? More than one time in a week? Yes. Do you move every week? Are new restaurants opening every week? Why is it the same conversation? It's because no one's good at decision making. Now, here's the funny thing, right? The people that are good at decision making, they know the person that is good, right? They're like, you can think right now of that person that when you're a group of 10 people and you're like, what do you want to do? And everyone's like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? There's like one person that's like, let's get pizza. And everyone's like, yeah, let's go get pizza. You hate pizza, but it's just easier because the decision was made for you. It's so common. People are horrible at decision making. Your boy included. Just saying, I'm not good at decision making. My wife and I do this every night. What do you want to do for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to do? It's the same options. It's the same options. It's just hard to make decisions. People don't like making decisions. They like the freedom of choice, but they don't like making decisions. It's the weirdest psychological conundrum of our century. It's probably not, but it is funny. So yeah, confused prospects don't buy. That's why it's important to tell them by simplifying the process and telling them what to do. Pretty easy. Now, the biggest thing related to making sure your clients are, on track with your prospects rather is you want them ending the call with confidence. You want them to be measured at the point of the price of confidence that the result that you've promised can be delivered, as opposed to thinking they need to overanalyze every minute detail. What ends up happening is if you go through your list of sales, which we're going to do on Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday. We're going to go through it. If you go through your sales calls and you audit your calls, right? If you go through that and you identify that the most common objection you get is I need to think about it, that's not on the prospects. That's on you for making a confusing offer. Because they're like, well, I don't know, like, how do I need the ISA? Do I have to have this many funnel pages? Do I have to have this prerequisite? Instead of, do you want this 3-step process to making $100,000? Simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Sorry, that was a really loud clap. Hopefully I didn't break your eardrums, but you get the point. It's just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Occam's razor says, another psychological principle. It's more philosophical, but whatever. We don't have to split hairs. Occam's razor, the simpler answer is always the right answer. Let's go with Occam's razor. Okay, so we did all the pre-framing, all the pre-work. Is there any questions on any of the pre-work before we dive into the actual frames of the one call close? And if this is valuable for you, just drop 7s. I really appreciate that. If I can see you and you could do a double thumbs up, that would be great. If you only kind of like it, do a half, 1 thumb, and then I'll cry a little bit, and then I'll try to be better. Okay. I won't cry on the screen. I'll do it later. I'll do it like over here or something. Is there any questions on the chat, Paulson, that you want me to answer first before we move on to the frameworks?
So what we can do, Alex, if it's okay with you, at the very end of the call before you guys present your stuff, we can do a quick 5-minute Q&A.
Love it. Let's do
And
that.
I'm keeping track of relevancy. I'm keeping track of relevancy on what we're talking about today on these questions. So we'll get to those.
Sounds good. All right, y'all ready for the OnCall close framework? Let's do it. If you want the actual framework itself, you can just text 1CC to this number and we'll just give you all the slides here so that you can have it. This is just high level. We use high level. Obviously, it's a great product. So you can just text it to this number. I will give you the actual like framework itself, like a Loom video of me going through every single one. Just make it easy for you to have it. So you don't have to screenshot every slide, but you can just ask me any questions as we go through it. I'll make sure you're taken care of and we'll go from there. Okay. All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about the first frame, the introduction frames. This is such an important frame. The introduction frame is how you set the call appropriately, okay? The first frame is the time and result frame. Pretty easy to understand what this is, how long the call is going to be, and what the purpose of the call is going to be. I'm gonna use Celeste as an example in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Celeste, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. Thank you so much. In terms of the call, I'm thinking we'll probably chat like 30, maybe 40 minutes or so. I just want to learn a little bit more about your marketing agency, see what I can do to support you today. If I can help you, I'll give you the best insight I possibly can on this call specifically. If I also think we can work together moving forward, I'll be more than happy to make you an offer if I'm confident we can deliver for you. Does that sound good? Yes, cool. Guys, if I do that, again, we rewind time and I do it again, it's going to be different, but it's the same frame every time. How long the call is going to be, what the result's going to be. Don't listen back to this recording and be like, I need to be like Alex, right? That's not what I want. I just want you to be authentic. How long the call is going to be, what your purpose of the call is. Simple. Because sometimes you get a really stupid objection at the end of calls. There's an offer on this call? That happens. You don't want that. Number two, also, the worst possible objection, it's not really objection, but problem on sales is, hey, I only have 10 minutes left. How much time are we looking at? Here's the thing. All of you are going to be wrong on your time frames pretty much 90% of the time, but at least you have some sort of framing instead of nothing. But it's, I'm pretty much always wrong with my time frames. I talk a lot, so this just happens. I'm being honest, but it's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. The second one here on this is the most important frame in the call outside of the one I already taught you, which is the confidence frame. But this is really the most important at the front end of every call. If you screw everything up, but you do this correct and the confidence correct, you're going to be good. Why they took the call. And look what it says here. Really lean into their time as the most valuable asset. So I'm going to do this with Devin now in 3, 2, 1. Like I said, Devin, man, I'm really appreciative that you took your time today. Really grateful that you're here. If you're here with me, that means you're not with your friends, your family, your clients, catching up on Game of Thrones, doing work. You're giving me your time, the most valuable asset you have. And I want to deliver for you. Why are you giving me this time? What are you hoping for from this call so I can deliver? Now, what you just did and what I just did with Devin is it forces him to consider, oh, wow, okay, that's true. Yeah, I am giving him my time for nothing. A lot of people, unfortunately, will just be like, oh, like you reached out to me, so I thought I would just get on a call. And you're like, oh, you're kind of willy-nilly with your time. Got it. Is there something in particular you're giving me your time for? It's important. Other people will be very direct, which is great, especially if they come from ads. Chris, I saw your ad related to getting, on Google on first page, first month guarantee. I'm really interested in that. Great. We know exactly why they're on the call 40 seconds into the call, essentially. Other people do something a little different, and it's probably the most common response. It's also the most annoying response, but that's okay. I'm going to teach you how to handle it. And the most annoying response goes like this. Well, Pauslin, it all started in 1985. My dad had a farm and I was just a young boy picking oranges. And then blah, 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 blah. They're chatting for like 20 minutes. I know it's not actually that long, but it's like a 5-minute spiel. You have no idea what they just said. It's like way, way, way overdone. And what you need to do is reframe it back. This is an important reframe, which is restating and confirming why they took the call. Hey, Rad, that was a lot. I appreciate you sharing with me. I appreciate your transparency. I just want to make sure I can synthesize this and understand why you're on this call with me and giving me your time. Basically, what you're telling me is right now, your company is not generating enough revenue and most of your business is referral based and your marketing is not consistent and you're hoping I can help you fix that. Is that right? Cool. Awesome. That is the frame. That's how it needs to be done. If you do not reconfirm the frame, then the frame is useless. It's not just clarifying why they took the call. It is also restating why, so that they can be primed to say yes. That's what a heuristic is. shortcutting their brain to say yes. They told you why they're on the call. You said, this is why you're on the call. And they say yes. That's important. That makes sense? If you do the why you did the why you're on the call frame, you do that correct, you can mess up everything else and you'll be really good. Okay. Awesome. Let me show you my amazing art skills. I hope you are just like amazed. Obviously, I was an AP art student. I could have clearly done that with my career instead. I'm kidding. Totally. Let's talk about the 4 W's. This is qualification time. Okay. This is where most people do discovery calls. This is just done in the one call close, and I'll explain how to do it. All right. The first question is, where are you now? Now, this is an important thing. Remember, we're not doing scripts, right? This is a frame. So you wouldn't say, hey, Kathleen, where are you now? That wouldn't make any sense. The where are you now are a series of questions based on your offer. Let's go with a marketing offer to med spas as an example. Okay, Kathleen, how many clients on average do you get per month with your medical spa? Understood. Are you running any advertising for your medical spa currently? Understood. Anything that is related to where they're currently at in their business is a where are you now question. That can be 2 questions. That could be 10 questions. It's based on your offer. I'll do one more in terms of an SEO product for a roofer. Okay. In terms of your company, roofingarizona.com, do you know where you rank right now? Understood. Do you know where you ranked prior? Like, let's say in the last year or so? Got it. How many reviews do you currently have? Do you have backlinks, or do you not know what backlinks are? All examples of where are you now? We're just trying to set the stage of where we are currently at. Okay. The next frame is, what's your goal? Where do you want to go? Again, if I ever audit a call from you and you say, what's your goal to someone on a call, I'm going to lose my mind. So please don't do that. The idea is what they're trying to accomplish. So you just told me that you're at 20 medical spa clients per month. How many do you want to have ideally? 40. Okay. So you want to double your business. Can you tell me why? The what's your goal is also important to add the why. We spoke about this before, right? Childlike goals. Why? What does that do for you? Oh, well, it makes me more money. What does more money do for you? What's the purpose behind it? What's the urgency, which we're going to talk about? Well, the purpose is if I make more money, I can hire another esthetician, and then I don't have to do all of the appointments by myself. Okay. And what happens when you hire another esthetician? I can see that being valuable. What would you do with your additional time? Oh, I'd spend time with my family. I'd be able to do this, take vacations, blah, blah. Okay. Got it. So this is a really important goal to you. Understood. Is there anything else I should know about the goal before we continue? It's not just what's your goal. There's more to it. Okay. The third W, what's the obstacle? So if we're bridging our frames, right? So here you are, here you want to be. What's the obstacle to get there, right? You wouldn't say, what's the obstacle? You'd say, what's the challenge in getting from 20 clients to 40 clients right now? Your business is fully referral based. Understood. Gotcha. Okay. You're asking questions related to why they have not been able to achieve their goal yet. What is the gap? This will also allow you to pre-frame any objections they're going to have, which is, well, I worked with this marketing agency before and it didn't work, blah, 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 blah. Let me clarify something really important for you. This is not a sequential frame. So for example, if you do where are you now? What is your goal and what's the obstacle? If you're in the obstacle frame and you realize I didn't ask them about if they have marketing currently or before, you can still do that. It's totally fine. The frame will still hold strong. It's okay if you're out of order a bit. It's not a problem. So don't stress yourself out too much being like, oh my gosh, I'm only on the what's your obstacle questions. I can't possibly go back to ask about their goal or their now. You can. It's totally fine. Go ahead, Paulson.
I think one of the things that I love about your examples here, Alex, is that we're talking about current scenarios and desired scenarios when it comes to sales, and we're talking about creating that bridge. But the way the language is coming out is very quantitative, right? It's very difficult to help them understand a path when you're talking about qualitative stuff. So I joke around with a lot of my SEO guys, and I'll ask them, do you have a hard time selling SEO magic dust, right? Because it's really hard to help them understand the technical real offer of what SEO really is. It's very much a qualitative sale, very much an education oriented sale versus Facebook lead ads. It's like, okay, I'm going to bring you 100 leads. You're going to close 25 of them. We're going to have a great life after that, right? It's very quantitative. And Alex, I love that you're sharing examples that are quantitative, because when it comes to the sales component, this is one of the biggest things that agencies struggle about. They talk about the features, the technical side, all on the qualitative, like capabilities of what the benefits are, and they
Too
don't
much
really
recipe stuff.
articulate the quantitative numbers on it.
Absolutely. And we're about to talk about magic pixie dust right now. So it's a perfect setup. Paulson, I didn't prep this, but you're going to really like it, Paulson. The fourth W is a really important one and where a lot of people fail. Okay. And frankly, for about 5 years, I coached the 3W model. All right. The reality is, if you don't incorporate the urgency when you want to get there, you're going to get a lot of the objection of, let's talk in a month, let's talk in a year. Even if you do the childlike dreams and goals, people's urgency level is really important to understand. This is how you frame it. I'll do an example. So right now at your gym, you're getting 15 members per month. You want to triple that. You want to get to 45 members per month consistently. And the biggest obstacle is no marketing company you've ever worked with has been able to do that for you. Most of your business is referral based, and you're doing all of the classes yourself. So you don't really have time to try to learn it yourself. Did I get that right? Understood. Okay. Let me ask you, how soon are you trying to go from 15 gym members to 45? Because if you say, like, let's say tomorrow, like no matter what marketing pixie dust I spread, I'm not capable of doing it in a day. If you say I want it in a year and a half from now, I don't know if we're on the same urgency trajectory, because I'm looking to partner with the gym in Tallahassee now to help you get this result in the next 90 days. What's your urgency level? 90 days, that would be amazing. I love that. Great. I can help you do it in 90 days. Do you want my help on that? Yes. This is the simple bridge concept. Just look at this. It's easy. It's easy to understand. It's not complicated. Don't overcomplicate it. It's effective. It works consistently. Now, what it comes down to is understanding how to go from qualifying to close. What people do here is they're like, okay, that was awesome, David. Thanks so much for your time. Let me put together an audit for you and chat tomorrow at 2 o'clock, which completely destroys your frame of their time being valuable and now elongates the process for anything to happen over the next 24, 48, or 72 hours before the next call for you to make an offer. Here's the thing, right? All you have to do is learn how to recap the 3 W's, 4 W's, and then offer. And this is how it works. Okay, so what you're telling me, Rick, right now is you're at 25 new clients per month. But it's not enough. You need to get to 50 within the next 90 days in order to ensure that your business will grow enough to hire another practitioner in order to retire your wife early. And that's why it's so important to you. The biggest obstacle that's holding you back is you don't have enough time to learn marketing, and the other companies you work with have not worked before. Is that correct? Did I miss absolutely anything? Beautiful. Pause. That's it. Just recap the qualifying call into a sentence or two. And then when they say, yes, that's it, you're good. Or when they're like, oh, I forgot to mention also these other 18 important things. Well, now at least you have the opportunity to do that, which happens a lot, by the way. Like, oh, I forgot to mention that, I have a $400,000 lien on my house, so I can't afford to invest in any marketing. Oh, cool. Okay. Can we stop the call now? After that 4W recap is this simple transition. Now, this is a script. Please don't read the script. What I'm doing right now is I am covering the script. You can't see it, but I'm covering the script with your faces so I don't read it. So I can just do a frame for you, okay? Which I'm going to do in 3, 2, 1. Rick, I told you at the beginning of the call, man, that if I was confident I can help you, I'd do my best to support you on this meeting and give you insight. I do have some insights I'd like to share here in just a minute, just so you have some appetizers of how I can potentially help you. But here's the thing. I'm really confident that if we work together in our GROW method, it's our 4-step process to getting to about $100,000 a month in your jujitsu gym. I'm really confident this is a good fit for you. Can I have another maybe like 15 minutes of your time or so to show you this framework and see if you want to be a part of this? If they say yes, you do it. If they say no, it is what it is. You got to schedule the second call. That doesn't mean you failed in OnCall Close. I want to make this point clear because we haven't done it yet so far. The OnCall Close isn't some magic abracadabra Harry Potter spell to get someone to pay you. If I figured that out, I would not give it away for free ever. And I probably wouldn't be coaching anything related to sales at all, because I would just be selling everything that's $1 bajillion and win every time. You don't win every time in sales. You don't win every time in OnCall Close. You can do everything correct in the OnCall Close and not get paid. You can do everything incorrect and be really confident and get paid. That's not how it works. You don't have control over another human being. The reality is, if you have to do a second call, that doesn't mean you failed. that doesn't mean you failed. If you had to do 6 calls, doesn't mean you failed. It's probably not great, but it doesn't mean you failed. Don't put such a hard and fast black and white rule on sales. Focus on actions over outcomes, specifically in sales. My goal for every person I work with, we have actually a checklist, which again, if you text that number, the 1CC, we'll give you the checklist. We have a checklist. We just want them to check the box every call. If you check the box of every call, everything we already went through today, if you check the box every time, you're gonna have a much better chance of closing. Does that mean you will close every time? Nope. But you're focusing on the actions, not the outcome. So again, it's not a failure if they say, no, I don't have the time, but I'm very interested. Can we chat tomorrow at 12? Or they say, no, I'm not interested, which would be pretty much impossible at this point, but it happens. It's part of it. Hopefully this helps. If you guys are enjoying this, I would really love to have a 5 in the chat below on Facebook. I'd really like to know that you're enjoying this and getting what you need from this. If you guys are on the actual call, can you just give me a thumbs up if you're liking this? Is it helping? Valuable? Cool? Awesome. Someone give me a double thumbs up. And then also we got one of these. It's awesome. I love your like unique. Oh, we got a sideways one. Sweet. I like it. I'm with it. Larry Hickman, my guy, is coming onto the call. Larry's been a POD client for 3 years. I love this guy. All right, let's talk about the next one. This is an optional frame. The reason I have it as optional, mostly people really mess us up. I'm working really hard to not have any profanity. It was a request from GHL. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Normally I'm a sailor, so I'm proud of myself. I'm giving myself an A+ so far. I was about to do it. That's why I said
very proud.
I was about to do it, Paulson, but I withheld. I handled it. So here's the thing. Everyone messes up the yes or no frame. It's just true. Like most people do not get this right. And it's not that important. So I just made it optional because when I'm hearing it on calls, I usually cringe because like they pretty much read this. They're like, I'm going to share you our proven process and system called X. And I'm like, oh God, oh, please stop. Please don't do this. It's so bad. But ultimately, if you can do this successfully, great. I'm going to do it without reading the script so you can get the insight that you're looking for in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Celeste, here's what it's going to look like, right? I'm going to share with you over the next 15 minutes our grow method to help you get to $50,000 a month consistently. And I'm very confident we can do that. What I'm going to ask of you is just 2 things. I think it's very reasonable. I want you to say yes if you absolutely love this and believe this is 100% right for you so we can work together, which I'm hoping, frankly, and biased towards that goal. But also I want you to know if you are not comfortable with this, if it's not right for you for any reason whatsoever, I want you to have the permission to say no. And I know it sounds weird to be like, have the permission, but a lot of people are afraid because like I'm pretty and I look good and I'm really sexy at sales and I'm really good at what I do. It's like, oh, I'm afraid to say no. So I'll say, I think about it, or I need to talk to my partner, when really you just want to say no. If you want to say no, it's totally okay. You won't hurt my feelings. I completely respect it. Is that cool with you? Awesome. Like I said, most people really screw this up. So much so that I've made it optional. I don't know why people screw it up so much. I think people are really uncomfortable with it. But if you feel like you go through this and you're like, I can do this, then do it. It's a great frame. It's another heuristic, another priming technique to get them to say yes again, because they're going to say yes to the yes, no frame. And they have a much higher likelihood at the end to not say maybe. If you do this, will they still say maybe? Of course. You're human beings. That's how it's not magic. Again, this is not magic. I'm not a Hogwarts professor, although that would be kind of cool. All right, let's talk about how you dive into the actual offer format. And this is the Ascension Promise. This is such an important thing that most people don't get clear on. Your offer have to have a clear result. When I ask people what they do, a lot of them will answer me something along these lines. They'll say, hey, I'm Kip and I help, I help doctors implement effective marketing strategies and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, dude, what? Why are you talking about it in that format? What I want it to be is, hey, I'm Lisa. I help chiropractors generate $15,000 in additional revenue per month. I want a clear offer, not the recipe. That's what you need to have. If you think right now, I'd love for you to drop in the chat on Facebook, what's your offer that I just said? Not I do marketing or SaaS or I do SEO. What is the offer? What's the result? I help attorneys get 5 new cases per month. I help real estate agents book 15 more seller leads every quarter. What is your result? What is the transformation statement? The Ascension Promise is what we call it in POD. There's lots of different words for it. I don't really care what you call it. Transformation, ascension, result, whatever it is, but it needs to be clear. We're going to take you to this result with our proven process system called this. That's what you're looking for, right? If I'm able to show you a proven system to do that with proof, would you be wanting to invest in that? Yes. Hey, awesome. Cool. The other piece here, right after that, is to touch on their biggest obstacle that they had. Hey, regarding the idea that your business is fully focused on referrals, you're totally not alone with that. This is one of the most common problems we see in the medical spa niche. I understand it's super frustrating because really you're spending all your time doing the actual work itself that you don't have time to do any marketing, which is why you're on the call. We've seen this time and time again. We know exactly how to solve it by getting more referrals, first of all, and building it out as a system, but also ensuring that you have a consistent flow of leads without you having to deal with it. You just do what you do best. Get on the phone, book the appointment, do the hydrofacial or the body contouring. Does that sound good? Awesome. I'm going to show you proof of that. Now, look, I'm going to tell you that I've been making bold claims so far on this conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some proof of the people we've worked with, like Michelle from this area who did this thing after having this problem. Sounds a lot like you, doesn't it, Celeste? It does sound a lot like me. Perfect. That's fantastic. Now, let me clarify. If I show you 2 or 3 testimonials, a lot of people are like, well, these are cherry picked. Obviously, they're cherry picked. Do you think I'm going to put up a page here and I'm like, look at this mediocre result we got? Obviously, they're cherry picked, of course. But here's the thing. Even if I was to show you just mediocre results equal this. If you put $1 into an ATM machine and get $3 back, would you do it every single time? Would anyone ever not consistently put $1 into that machine? Of course not. Now, the ones I'm showing you are ATMs where they put $1 in and they got $10 back. It's just sexier. I could show you the ones where they put $1 in and got even $1.50 back. Am I super over the moon about it? No, but you still make money. I'm not going to be successful if we can't make you money. I would not be at this position of this call if I didn't believe we can make you money, period. Can you trust me on that? And can we move forward? If you don't use this frame, everyone will think you are lying in your calls. They will think you are showing just the 1 or 2 people you've had success with because human beings are skeptical. And that is why it's important for transparency and empathy. Do you see why I pre-framed all the training today with psychology before just diving into this? Does this make sense? Is it starting to come together? Paulson, go ahead.
But Alex, what do we do when I haven't worked with any clients yet? I don't have any case studies. I don't know how to set the expectations, Alex. What do I do?
You quit. You never be successful ever, obviously. Duh. No, of course not. There's lots of different methods you can do. So here's the thing. There's 2 main frameworks for that specific objection if you don't have proof, okay? I'm not sure how many of you don't have proof. If you don't, just like give me a thumbs up or something, which is totally fine. Everyone starts at the beginning, right? This is totally understandable. Consider me, right? My first client, I had 0 proof. My first coaching client, I had 0 proof. Everyone starts at 0. No one magically starts at, oh, I have 3 clients. Well, what? No, that's not how it works. Everyone starts at 0 in everything. Every doctor has its first case. Every attorney has its first case. I meant patient and then case, but you get the idea, right? Every agency owner has its first client. That's how it goes. There's 2 ways to manufacture the result. And ethically is the important thing of what I'm going to say. Not stealing people's results. Really important. Ethically, 2 ways. 1, you have a white label provider that I was trying to say partner and it sounded like provider. So we can just go with that, provider, partner, and they give you their results. Okay. And then you utilize their results as your results because they're going to do the fulfillment. So that's 1. Very common. It's probably the most common strategy that people use in the agency space for pretty much any product. It's very, very common. I would estimate at least like 70% of agency owners utilize some sort of white label solution. It's pretty common. Number 2 is just transparency. Is it harder to sell with transparency? Yes. Here's what I mean. Hey, you might be wondering like, okay, why are you so confident in this goal? Well, I've been learning about this for 6 months at this point. I really confident I can get this, but here's the thing that I need to be upfront about. Normally at this point, like I'd have proof. Like, hey, look at Michelle or David or Christina that did this. The reality is I don't have any proof because I'm at the beginning. Just like you had your first patient or your first case or your first client, I'm here. I have a price that reflects that and a guarantee that reflects that because I really want to prove my worth. But I need someone to give me a shot. I think ultimately that this is the best opportunity to get on the ground floor of someone that's put in a lot of time and effort into making sure this result's going to work. And then you can give me an amazing testimonial and we can both win. But if you're looking for something that's already proven 100 times before, guaranteed, I can't be me. I'm not that person. But if you still give me the shot, I'm happy to continue going through it and show you why I believe this is still a no-brainer for you. Don't be afraid to be honest. That's what people want. People want honesty. That's who I am. That's what I stand for. And it works every time. So go ahead, Paulson.
This is one of those things that I've learned the hard way. In the beginning of your agency launch, I recommend you charging a lot higher than what you think you should charge. Because the higher you charge, the more margin you have to bring in the people that can deliver for you. Okay, it's a really big thing because when I started my dental agency in 2013-14, I charged people $3,500. And my white labeler, I was paying him $1,500 a month, which is crazy today.
That's
right?
very high.
But
That's very high.
but I provided videography, photography, SEO, website,
Nice.
Facebook ads, literally everything, and wow the heck out of this client. But my margin was there,
Yeah.
and they knew this, right? And I would tell them, hey, listen, all the dollars that you're sending my way, I'm gonna keep it in my bank account. If something doesn't work out, I'm gonna send that back over to you, unless we jump on a report call at the end of the month and you're satisfied with our results. And I would set the precedence like that in the beginning.
So I have one more also note for you. And I'm guessing some of you are hoping that I'm going to say this, which is like working for free. This is just my opinion. It's not a fact, right? Like, who am I to say what's right or wrong, right? That's not who I am. I'm not going to be that type of person. But with that being said, I'm a very staunch believer on never working for free. Your time is sincerely way too valuable to do that, right? I just really don't believe in that. And I'm not a fan of it. Now, if you do it, this is the best framework in my opinion. You have to have a very clear agreed upon success KPI. We're going to talk about this a lot more on the retention training, which I promise you is going to be really important to watch on Thursday. But a success KPI, which is if we hit this metric, you agree that you will continue working with us. Never, ever. This is 100% never, ever agree to working for free for a month. You can do whatever result you can in 2 weeks max, 10 days, 5 business days, both weeks, 10 days total to hit a specific KPI. That's an appetizer. They don't need a steak. They need a pig in a blanket, a mini hot dog. Show them you can get them a mini hot dog. That's it. Hey, if I get you a mini hot dog in 2 weeks, would you be open to seeing how I can get you a steak over the next month or 6 weeks? That's it. Don't promise a steak for free. Promise a mini hot dog. That's it. The KPI would then be not, I'm going to get you 20 leads. I'm going to get you 5 leads, 5 that are good quality. Don't pay me anything other than the ad spend. If I do it, you have 2 options. One, you say, I love this. You're going to continue working with me at $1,500 a month. Or at the very least, you're going to give me a testimonial that I did what I said so I can use it as proof for my next client. Is that fair? That is a must. I don't like doing that. I understand why people do that, so I won't ever hate on it. But please never, ever work for free. Please don't do it. Don't do it. It's not a good method. It's not effective. It's bad to your time. It's a disrespect to yourself and what you can bring to the table. Now, with that said, if you do it, those are the frames that I would recommend. Okay. Hopefully that helps. It said user entered the room. I thought it said usher. And I'm like, man, I'm going to teach usher sales. That's so cool. But that's okay. User, you're not usher and I still love you. It's all good. All right, let's continue. What makes you special? This is a really important element. Okay. People want IP. That's what people want. They want things that are unique. They want things that are different. Here's an unfortunate newsflash. There's 95 of you on this call. There's hundreds and thousands of agency owners, probably almost 1 million at this point, I would guess. Very little have IP. The thing that's really funny is most people's IP is white labeling high level, which is really cool. But it's also not your IP. You can say it's your IP, but it's not your IP. Robin and Sean and the whole team made it, and it's amazing, but they want you to use it. And that's why a lot of people do it. Pretty much 99% of my clients have their own version of high level called like the clinic method and this thing and the grow whatever. And you guys have seen it all. Use that as your framework, right? But the biggest thing is just showing them what makes you different, which I'll explain in these 2 elements. Okay. The first one is just a quick breakdown of your offer. All right. What you want to do is just 3 or 4 steps to hit the desired results. Okay. It should look like a image, like a circle, right? And here's the method. In the top left, you should just have the promise, right? We're going to get you 20 new clients in 90 days guaranteed. Framing, by the way, in 90 days will help you actually get clients for 3 months upfront. Again, we're going to talk about this a lot more on Thursday. But anyways, just as a note. Then just like 3 or 4 steps of how you do that thing. The way that you do this is making sure that you appropriately express whose burden it is. When you show them the recipe, what you want to do is explain this. Hey, Dustin, I told you I'm going to get you 20 new prepaid clients in 90 days. Now, obviously you're like, how does he do that? I already showed you proof. We have a 4-step process of how we do it. There's a few more steps on our back end, but this is like the highest level, simplest framework we can show you. I want you to remember this. It's on us. The burden's on us to do this for you. All you got to worry about or focus on, not worry about, don't say that. All you got to focus on is getting the 20 clients per month or 20 clients per 90 days. Okay. We're going to do that for you, but just so you can see that there's a logical framework for it. I'm going to show you the 4 steps. At any point you have any questions, just let me know. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the key is not talking about features, but talking about what the feature does for them. Not, hey, we have a call center. It's, hey, we have direct done for you appointment settings so you don't have to pick up the phone. There's a huge difference between that. It's really important that you understand how you can inform them about elements that's going to directly benefit them, their revenue and profits, their team, their productivity, their workflow. If your offer can benefit their bottom line and the amount of time they spend on things, you are going to sell a lot more efficiently. Remember, time is the most valuable resource, not just money. What most people want with money is to eventually metaphorically buy back time, because you can't technically buy it, but like pay for another esthetician or get another real estate agent or another insurance provider, like someone else to help them. That's what money does for you. It gives you the opportunity to have more time. That's why it's really important that your offer frames how you can make them more money and save them time. If you can also show them that they'll help your team or their productivity or their efficiency or their workflow, man, you're going to kill it. Last thing, do you have any questions about this process and how it works? Do you want this implemented for your business? Do you want this implemented for your business? Let's try one more time. Do you want this implemented for your business? You got to use it. I'm sorry that it's not on the slide. You got to use it. It's important, because then they're going to say what? Yes. And what does the heuristic say? They're primed now to say yes to your offer because they just said they wanted to implement it. Pretty simple. Don't overcomplicate it. The competition slide. This is an easy slide to do. All you have to do is just have in your pitch deck, okay? A very simple slide. All you have to do is just have a chart, okay? And you do us versus them. Do not ever put another company as them. You are looking like a bad human being if you do that. I would never sell that way. I would also never buy from someone. I pretty much guarantee none of you would ever buy from someone if they're like, here's why my program is better versus this guy, and are particularly name someone. That is not right. That is not appropriate. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be successful by crushing someone else. That is not appropriate or the right thing to do. Don't be that person. You don't need to do it. It's not going to be successful for you anyways. You're going to look like a jerk. So what you're going to do instead is you're going to do us versus them. And you're going to agree that some of your elements are standard across the board. Let's say you do PPC. So standard across the board is going to be, we'll make a funnel. Standard across the board is we're going to run ads on Facebook. Standard across the board is we're going to optimize your campaigns. Everyone that's worth their weight or their salt are going to do these 3 things. If anyone you talk to don't do these things, don't work with them. But everyone should do this. Now, here's what we do that's unique. We guarantee our service. We have an appointment setting team that will call for you. We do X, we do Y, we do Z. It's so effective. It makes a huge difference. And if you frame it like you see in the script here, which is, hey, I know you really want to consider, what other competition there is or what other companies are out there, but your time is the most valuable thing. So I thought I would just do the due diligence for you. And we put together what our competition does versus what we do and why it would be a better fit to work with us. Does that sound good? Cool. Now, one of the things you want to do at this point, okay, it's really valuable to do this. And you can do this at any point in the call, but I like bringing it up usually here in the training. All right. Is I like to talk about, do you have any calls like lined up, or have you had any calls lined up for marketing to solve this problem before? You did already have calls. Why didn't you buy from them? What was missing from this sheet? Get clarity on that, because now you can use that as an advantage before you get to the price. Hey, do you have any calls lined up after this? You do. Interesting. My goal is to make sure that I'll save you the time from having to do any other calls, because my offer is such a no-brainer that it will make no sense for you to consider anything else. How does that sound? Cool. If I make you an offer that's a no-brainer, would you say yes? Yes. Do you see what we're doing here? Is everyone getting this? Hopefully you're enjoying this. Feels maybe like I'm talking into an echo chamber at some time. So if I can get some thumbs, that'll be helpful. If you're live on the Facebook chat, just let me know. Just write great. That works for me. I'll go with great. If you write amazing, I will perk up my ear just a little bit more. So if you want to do that, you can. It's just like a couple more letters, like it's all good. All right, let's continue. The confirmation and ROI. All right, this is a really important thing that needs to be done in every sales call. You have to confirm the value and the desire before the price. When you get to the point of the call and you say, hey, do you want this method implemented for your business? Do you want similar results as Michelle, right? They're like, well, what's the price? Before the price. If this price makes sense to you, right? If this is going to be an ROI for you, if you're going to get these types of results to get $20,000 additional per month, would you want this for your business? Yes. Make them commit to wanting it before the price so they don't get sticker shock on the price. Then do any ROI potential and risk mitigation. The way I like doing ROI potential, and I would have to show you the slide to see this, but essentially is a storytelling version of what your promise is. Then conservatively, if it was half of the promise, how they'd still make revenue, even if you only gave them half. This is similar to the ATM of like, even if you put $1 in and I only gave you $1.50 back, you would still make money. But my goal is to give you $1 and you get $10 back. That frame is super valuable. It's really strong price anchoring. If you have a guarantee, now's the time to share it. If you don't have a guarantee, it's totally fine. We could talk about the psychology of that later on. Do you see the value here? Why it's important to implement this in your business? Is this what you were hoping for when you got on the call? Do you see how this is the solution that you've been waiting for? How we can solve this for you like we did with this person? Really important. The investment offer. Is there any other questions? Finalize all the questions, get all the variables out, and then just get to the offer. In order to implement the X method to your business to get you 20 prepaid clients per month for your real estate company, while ensuring that you don't have to rely on referrals anymore, and we do all the work for you, it's simply a monthly investment of $19.97. You absolutely should do this. It is the right fit for you. I believe that wholeheartedly. Let's work together. And then stop. There's no scripts on confidence. Confidence requires transparency, authenticity, and conviction. And I'll add one element to this. Ready? It requires courage. It requires courage. It requires your willingness to tell someone to do it because you know it's right for them. Not because it's right for your pocket, not because it's right for your wallet, but because it's right for them. That's what we're here for. That's why you're here. That's why High Level asked me to come here, because they were confident that I would deliver for you. That's why you've stuck here for an hour and a half almost listening to me, because of my confidence and conviction, because of my authenticity, because of my proof, because I know that I'm the best sales coach there is. That's not a cocky thing. That's not an arrogant thing. That doesn't mean there aren't other great sales coaches. It's my self-confidence. When you're worried about coming off arrogant instead of confident, you're misrepresenting what perception is. Perception equals no control for you. I could say this and someone on the call is like, that guy is really cocky. And someone else on the call would be like, I love this guy. It happens all the time. Think about politics. One person, don't worry, we're not going to get into it. I'm just saying one person speaks, half people love it, half the people hate it. Doesn't matter what the person was trying to convey. It just matters what the perception was. When you worry about your ability to control someone's perception, you're forgetting what you have control over. If you're towing the line between am I being confident or I'm being arrogant, what you're actually doing is seeding doubt. And when you see doubt, doubt is like poison to a salesperson. Doubt is like a blood in the water of a shark, and the prospect smells it from 10 miles away, and they know for a fact they cannot work with you. You cannot work with doubt. That's why I didn't choose that surgeon. Would I have been fine with that surgeon? Probably, but he didn't get my business. And considering that we spent $1.5 million on the surgery, thank God for insurance, he probably wanted my business. So consider that. It's an important frame. You do not control someone's perception. Be confident. I have one more thing on this before we move off of it. It's extremely important you understand this, okay? If anyone's a football fan out there, there's this idea of alligator arming it. Same thing in baseball. Alligator arming it means you didn't lay out for a catch, okay? If you lay out, right, and you catch it, great, everyone's going to praise you. If you don't lay out and you're alligator arming it or T-Rex arming it, if you look at me in the video, people are going to be like, why didn't you try, blah, blah, blah. This is what happens in sales. People are like, I love everything you do, Alex, and coach, and I'm just going to be like, do you want this at the end? Because you're afraid to lay out. You're afraid to bust your chin. Just bust your chin. Nothing bad's going to happen. If you lay out and the guy's like, I don't like your arrogance. I don't like how confident you are. It's too much for me. It's too aggressive. You were listening back to the call. Maybe it was too much. You reel it in a little bit next time, but you didn't actually bust your chin. Now you're on to the next meeting. You have to do this. If you take anything away from today, do this. Confidence. It's important. Paulson?
Alex, I know we're moving fast, just as fast as we're going. I'm seeing the slides for day one. I know there's more to cover. So we can keep going for another 10, 15 if you want to, and cut the Q&A back.
Yeah. Do you guys want 10 to 15 more so I can wrap this up for y'all?
Okay. And we'll do Q&A offline. So put your questions down in the Facebook streaming, and we'll go through those questions. Another thing I want to add to this conversation is it's really hard to be confident about your offer when you serve multiple masters, meaning multiple industries. Okay. It's really hard. I rarely see traditional agencies that are serving 10, 15 niches scale very easily.
They don't.
Okay? They really don't. There's a few people that I can think of with my fingers that can do that. Okay, and they do that with independent sales departments for each industry. They niche down the sales process even. So niche down if you can, so you can be more confident in the fulfillment. So that
Yes.
energy comes off in the sales call. So when you do present your offer, you're really conveying that energy over to the
1000%.
prospect.
1000%. Any very successful seven-figure agency is niched. Just very common. That's how it works. Okay, let's talk about the variables that you need to isolate for specifically the one call close, right? The first one is the decision maker. This is a really hard variable to isolate. There's no really super effective method for it. Usually what I would do at the front end of the call after the why frame, if they're like, they want your help essentially, right? That's what they're on the call for. Be like, awesome. I love people that are like really urgent on and very clear on what they want and I can help them. Can I ask you, is there anyone else that should be maybe on this meeting for marketing decisions, or is that your area of expertise? It's pretty much the only thing you can do. There's no guarantee it will work. Sometimes it just happens that they have another decision maker. I'm going to teach you how to handle that with a deposit in just a minute. Number 2 is the urgency, the why now. We already went through it. Number 3 is the yes, no decision, the optional frame. You can decide to do it or not. Number 4 is the value. Make sure before you say the price, you convince them of getting the value of this and they want it. And then finally, the price investment with confidence. Okay. Let's talk about overcoming objections. We're going to do a lot of these on Thursday. So since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to just do a couple of them that matter the most. If you want to chat, like throw in the chat right now on Facebook, like what's the one that you deal with the most? I will make sure I answer at least one of those for you. What I know for sure is number 3 is very common and a lot of people have a hard time with it, which is I've been burned before. So I'm just going to handle that for you really quickly. Okay. Hey, I totally understand, Kathleen, that you've been burned before. It's super frustrating to have that experience, I'm sure. Here's the thing that's valuable though. One, I commend you for still getting on this call. Even though you've been burned before, you know this problem is still so urgent that you have to get on another meeting to try to solve it. And I respect and appreciate your willingness to do so. I wish I could go back and change that you've been burned before, but there is something I can do, okay? What I can do is promise you that whatever happened prior, we will learn from, whether it's from your voice or from actual auditing of what was done prior, so we can accelerate our experience. There's always a honeymoon phase in working with people where we have to kind of understand how we work together, how we party together, like what that looks like. We'll make sure we accelerate it so you can make sure that that loss that you think was completely a loss is no longer a complete loss. Also, with that said, I want to have you a quick metaphor. If you look at my hand, you might see this freckle I have. Imagine that was a mole and I didn't know what it was. And I went to my wife and I was like, hey, babe, what do you think this is? And she says, I don't know. You got to go to the doctor. So I go to the general practitioner. I wait in the waiting room. They're playing Lion King for the 300th time. I pay my $80 copay. I go into a smaller waiting room. The doctor comes in finally after 40 minutes. I say, hey, doc, what's this thing on my hand? The doctor says, I don't know. You got to go to you got to go to the specialist. You got to go see the dermatologist. So I leave. I'm driving home. I'm frustrated. I still have my problem. I don't know what it is. My wife comes home from work. Hey, babe, how'd it go with the doc? Well, I still have this problem. I don't know what it is. The doctor said I need to go see a specialist. What do you think she says? Don't worry about it. No, she tells me to go see the specialist because here's the thing. If it's a mole, it could be cancer. And if it's cancer, I will die. Bluntly. Sorry, it's morbid, but the reality is, thankfully, the stakes are not that high for you. This isn't cancer, but it might be cancer to your business. And the reality is, the people you worked with before are the general practitioners. I'm the specialist. I will not let you get burnt before. I will not let you get burnt again, excuse me, period. But you got to give me the chance to do that. Hopefully that helps. We're going to do live objection handling together, live objection handling on Wednesday together. You will be here on Zoom. You will unmute yourself. We're going to go back and forth. There is not one objection that you can provide to me that I cannot handle. If you can, I will pay you $100. Make it that easy for you. You can't. I've done all of them. I know all of them. Now, one little joke here, side note here. It's not a joke. It's serious. Some of you will be like, what if they say no? Is that an objection? No is not an objection. It's a no. Those are different things. I will help you with all of these though. So for the sake of time, I'll do those on Wednesday. Is that cool? Awesome. Thank you. Let's talk about landing a deposit. This is a really important and like necessary framework. Okay. If you are not able to get them to pay in full, okay, then this is what you need to do. Ask for at least a $500 deposit and get clarity why you have this reason for the deposit. There's 3 easy set frames. We're going to get the setup started. We will not prospect to any competition. And we're going to hold your spot in line and send you a proposal. Screw the send proposal part. Just we'll hold your spot in line. Okay. Here's how it's done. In 3, 2, 1. Hey, Rad, Totally understand. You kind of got to think about it. You got to talk to your partner, your dog, your parrot, take a long walk on the beach before you make this decision. Here's what I know. You're going to end up coming back to me and saying, I want this. What I want to do is just cut the curve. Put down a $500 completely refundable deposit. I will hold your space in line. My team will get everything ready to get started. You'll be my only medical practitioner we work with in Orlando, Florida. We won't work with anyone else. We'll have our setup getting ready so that we're ready to rock and roll. We'll schedule our kickoff call for 48 hours from now. On that call, you'll say, hey, we're good to go. Here's the rest of the investment. Or you'll say, hey, not the right fit, and I'll refund you, no questions asked. Ultimately, trust is where this starts. I want you to affirm your decision, not rack your brain on the decision. When you make the investment, it's going to help you allow yourself to realize I'm not afraid of the finances. I'm more focused on what I'm going to gain from this. Do not make this decision based on fear. Make it based on abundance. And that's why you should make this deposit. Now, right before this call, I just told you this, I got a deposit for our program. In general, most deposits are refunded less than 5% of the time, because now they already did the hard part. They're like, well, I already paid my credit card. Now I should make this decision. It also makes any conversation with the person they're speaking to about thinking about it much easier. Hey, babe, I had a great call today with Kathleen. She, I think she can help me. I put down a $500 deposit. She did say it was refundable, but I really think it's a good idea. It's just easier. Please, please trust me on this. It'll make a really big success for you in your business. And if you're worried about, by the way, Stripe fees, if you refund them, you're thinking way too small. Like if you got to refund someone and you lose $30, so what? It's no big deal. Now, how do you get paid on the call? There's this amazing tool. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's pretty awesome. It's called Go High Level. It's kind of underground. Not many people have heard of it. Really awesome dudes, Sean Clark and Robin, this guy Paulson, he's wild. They really can help you. It's really dope. Joking aside, a deal is not closed until you've been paid. This is so common. We closed the deal. Did you get paid? No, I sent them an invoice. You didn't close anything. How do you get paid? High level. You can use a sales page. We actually dropped our snapshot in the Facebook group, so you can have it. We have like a sales page. It's not amazing at all. There's like probably 5 billion better sales page snapshots. I'm not pretending that I'm any sort of like high level edit expert. I am really not. I'm just really good at using the tool for like, sales stuff in terms of like tracking and all that. But the sales page is whatever. If you need one though, to get paid, it's there. It connects with Stripe. There's lightning fast one-timer subscription payments. They have the text to pay, or you can take the card over the phone, which is always my recommendation, or you can just send them a direct payment link. Just use High Level. That's why you guys use it. It's a great tool. But don't ever use the excuse of, I don't know how to get paid on a call. High Level does it. It feels like, by the way, that's like the majority of the answers. I don't know how to do X, Y, Z. High Level does it. It's very common. At some point they'll have a robot that will do sales for you, but we're not there yet. So one day, maybe I'll be the part of the AI that they teach. So that was what I had for today. I just want to talk about what we have for the next couple of days before we close shop. I really appreciate your time today. I know we went over just a little bit, but I think we should be good here. Thank you so much again for being here and giving me your time. It looks like the majority of you stayed like the whole time, which I'm really grateful for. And I really hope you enjoyed it and take some stuff away. I would love to know if there's anything you in particular took away. Drop it in the chat. It helps me help you ultimately for the next couple of days, so I can really give you the insight. The last thing I wanted to do today is just talk about what we have coming up, which is the 7 key systems to 7-figure agency. You don't have to have a 7-figure agency. I'm not like a hustle culture, bro culture kind of guy. If you want to have a smaller company, that's totally fine. These 7 systems are really what's needed. The infinitely scalable agency is kind of like my IP. It's the language I use. Basically what your vision is of what you want to accomplish. Productized services, which is like a value ladder of how you build your business. A predictable prospecting system, which Brian is going to be talking about tomorrow. Brian, again, my business partner, going to be sharing with you strategic partnerships and how to build an effective, predictable, and reliable prospecting system. The optimal sales system is what we covered today, and we will cover even more on Wednesday. Retention management, which we're going to cover on Thursday. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Hiring and team management and leadership and mindset. We don't really have the time to cover it during these 4 days, but it is really important. It's how you get from freelancer to CEO. And then the financial structure of what's the most effective way to run your business, what profitability you should be considering. Revenue is not king. Revenue is what most people are focused on, but really you should be focusing on profit, how much the company's taking home. You'll have companies that'll be like, we made $1 million this month, and they took $10,000 out. So just keep that in mind. Don't get like all worked up about revenues. Focus on profits. So the people that are on this call and over the next 4 days might be thinking like, what do we do in POD? How does it work, right? The reality is we're a mentorship program coaching program. We have some people probably on this call that are in it. If you're in the POD fam, let us know. Basically, you have a private Slack channel. We communicate every single day. We audit your sales calls. We help you build your offers. We help you sell. We help you, prospect. We help you hire. We build all these systems with you. That's why High Level invited us to do it. And ultimately, you've probably heard of it, right? This rigmarole of like, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to send you a link, and then you're going to come into our Facebook group, and then we're going to have an appointment setter message you, and then we're going to maybe get on a call. We just wanted to skip that. We just wanted to make you a direct offer if you want to work with us, which is totally fine if you want to, and totally fine if you don't. It's totally okay. And we're just going to do something we've never done before, which is a love it or leave it clause. Normally, we have our clients pay $15,000 to $24,000 for a 6 to 12 month commitment, but what we're doing is just a love it or leave it clause for 2 months. If you love it, you can make a one-time payment of $5,000 for 2 months to full access to our mentorship, private Slack channel. We will work with you every day, including me, including the 13 coaches on our team, where we will help you with your ads, your fulfillment, your prospecting, your sales. Everything is covered except attorney stuff, because we're not attorneys, and financial advice because we're not crypto bro experts. I wish I was, but I'm not. We will help you with your agency growth. The reality is, if you get one client every month, $2,000, and you retain them for 3 months, you're going to make a significant return on your investment. Our goal is that you make at least $5,000 to $10,000 a month minimum. And we have proof to back it up consistently over and over. We have a page called The Proof, and it's just thousands and thousands of testimonials, probably a lot from people you've seen in High Level, which I'm grateful for. We have legit opened up 8 spots for this. We actually brought on a new coach for this to make sure we have the availability because we are a very boutique company. We have 50 clients. We've never had more than 60. So we are really, really tight-knit community. So we just want to make sure that we can provide for you if you come in without losing the value of what we do and kind of making it not super effective for you. So it's a love it or leave it clause. If you love it, amazing. If you don't, no worries. You don't have to commit for 6 months. This is your opportunity to get real support and value. The same offer I'm going to have the next 3 days. If you have no interest in it, it's totally fine. We can work together the next 3 days. If you love it and you want to try it now, just drop an 8 in the chat. We'll happily reach out to you and give you the insight. We'll have Hakeem reach out to you. He's going to give you a form so we can just make sure we can help you. If you're at like $0 to $3,000 a month, probably hard to help you at this point, because we need you to have a little bit more funds for advertising and support and that kind of stuff. If you're at 5,000 and above, you're in a great spot to have support from us to get you to $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, $30,000 a month. And it's 2 full months of access. And if you want to wait to decide, you're more than welcome to see what I bring to the table tomorrow and on Wednesday and on Thursday. But either way, I'm just really grateful for the time and opportunity to help you guys. I really hope you sincerely enjoyed this. Again, just drop an 8 in the chat below if you want this. And I'll let you know how many people said that today, just in case some spots were taken up. And we'll go from there. But Paulson, I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And that's what I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
So just so you know, you guys, at the end of every single day, the next 4 days, Alex is going to review this offer with you. We asked him, hey, we had a ton of people ask already how to work with our guests in the past. So we've made it easy for them to be able to present their offers and things like that. Obviously, Alex's offer is not related to High Level. It's an independent offer from his company, and you guys can do your interviews and qualities and all those different things. Now, Alex, let's do a Q&A. I've got a few questions here for you from the chat, from the Facebook group. When it comes to the one call close, what is the percentage that you see that's converting versus before, when you guys were doing 2 call close, or just?
I was never doing 2 call closes.
Okay.
So I can't answer that question. That question is also an impossible question. I'm not trying to cop out. The reason why is because what's the offer? What's the price? Where the leads coming from? Like, there's way too many variables. So I'll give you just like a simple framework from some of my clients. Let's say you offer a $3,000 a month package to medical spas, and they come from ads. You should expect that your close rate is going to be about 20 to 25%. If you are doing cold outreach completely, and you have a $2,000 offer, 100% cold with a money back guarantee, probably about 15% or so. If you are doing referral based, where people are coming to you and they know who you are and you have like really high leverage already, probably like 40%. Anyone that tells you that their numbers of close rate are over 50% probably are lying, or they are manipulating statistics. Well, when you remove the unqualified leads and the people that didn't have this, and blah, 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 like, yeah, it's kind of weird how people do that. But yeah, I mean, it's weird how human beings are bred to consider like 25% is bad. that's amazing, right? Like if you are a baseball player and you hit at 25 or 30%, you are like a Hall of Famer. But I don't know what happened. Okay, we stopped screening. If you are like an agency owner though, and you're closing at 20 or 25%, you're like, I'm a failure. It's like, no, you're doing great. That's awesome. Hopefully that helps. If you have like a specific niche and offer and stuff, and you want to tell me, I'll give you an explanation of what I think you should probably be closing.
Got it. Next question. Well, next suggestion I have is there's a ton of people that watch these virtual workshops internationally, Alex.
Yes.
So that text number that you presented to be able to download the PDFs, it won't work for people outside of the US or Canada, I believe, right? So if you can figure out
a high level number, but yeah.
But if somebody's in Australia, they won't be able to text that, I don't think.
Got it. Okay.
Right?
If you're in an international and you want the slides, just comment slides and Hakeem will get them over to you.
Yeah,
perfect. We're not going to like spam you or be like, buy our thing. We're not doing that. We don't have any interest in that. I promise. Perfect. We'll just give you the slides.
So day 2 tomorrow. What's happening, Alex? Tomorrow is day 2. What could we expect?
The less handsome version of our company, Brian Downard, is going to come on and do training on the strategic partnership and prospecting side. I'm really not the prospecting expert in our company. I'm pretty good. I know it's ironic considering my company's name is Prospecting on Demand. Please don't, crap on me for it. Brian is amazing at it though. He's an incredible strategic partner, relationship creator. He's built out our entire system. Originally in high level, it was called Prospecting in a Box. We used to sell that Paulson by itself and it worked amazingly well. And then we started providing it in POD and we started seeing just insane results. The reality of prospecting that we believe is this: you should start with outbound, but ultimately everything's a means to inbound. Like you need to be running ads if you're a marketing agency. If you're not, you're kind of lying to yourself. But if you know how to do strategic partnerships, you can have this Dream 100 strategy where you can end up serving like 50 people on a call. Imagine this opportunity, right? What's this for me? I'm on a call with 75 to 100 people making an offer versus doing a one-on-one call with Dustin. That's a significant value. That's what Brian wants to teach you how to do. It's how we got this in the first place, which is not really true because Paulson asked me if I wanted to do it, which was awesome. And I'm super grateful for it. But ultimately, we wanted to teach you how to do it. Like one of our clients did this with landscapers. They got on a Zoom call with 15 landscapers and like 7 of them paid $2,000 a month for their product. It's amazing. The opportunity is incredible. Brian's going to teach it all to you tomorrow. It's really, really valuable.
Okay, I'm going to ask for one volunteer who attended the whole thing and paid attention the entire time that may want to unmute themselves and just share their biggest takeaways so far from what Alex shared today. I'm just going to ask for one volunteer. Whoever wants to raise their hand, we'll just go with you. And I just want you to genuinely just share your biggest takeaway for a lot of people that jumped into the call maybe halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. Any volunteers?
Guys, when you all unmute yourself at the same time and talk, it's really hard to hear you. So only one of you should do it. Like, because when you all did it at the same time, it was hard to hear. That was a joke.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand for one volunteer that wants to just share your biggest takeaways today so far. If we can't do that, we can't do sales tomorrow by ourselves.
Devin's got something.
Okay, go for it, Devin. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Sean
so
also.
I'm kind of already working with an agency like what yours is, Alex. You're probably familiar with them if I was to say the name, but I don't know if I should on this. But I think that the 1-step call versus 2, because that's what I've been taught, is you do that first qualifying call and then you jump on for a demo call, right? So I think that's a good takeaway. I really like the mindset, certain principles I've never even heard of before. So those are great. I'm definitely looking forward to utilize it. And I'm like, I don't have one client yet. I kind of just got into all this. So I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to skill at the moment. So anything is helpful. So.
Welcome to the community, man. It's good to have you.
Yeah.
Let's go with Sean Gavitt. I think, Sean, you were the other person that had raised your hand. And Sean, if you want to share your thoughts, I appreciate it.
So it was the same thing. That one closed call, man. That's pretty good stuff. I've been in sales for a while, and the one call close in my business is not something that you jump into every day because it's too technical. And what this is telling me is that one call close, if you're making it too difficult, you're making it too difficult, right? So simplify, simplify, simplify. So thank you for that. That's really cool stuff.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for that, Sean.
Awesome,
I enjoyed
guys.
it.